What was my very first credit card? How are you guys doing today? My name is Apple, and today, as always, we are filling in the financial gap between schools and the real world. And today we're talking about my first credit card. So the first credit card I ever got, and it's a good story behind it, and I think it'll be very informational for you guys if you guys are in the market for your first credit card or you are getting started on your credit journey. So what we're going to talk about in this video is when I got my first credit card, why I got the credit card that I did, and what kind of credit card actually was it and what did it do. So that is what we're going to be talking about in this video today. So be sure to stick around and be sure to share this video with a friend as well so that they can see what to look for in their very first credit card. And without further ado, let us just hop right in. All right, so when did I get my very first credit card? Well, I got my first credit card when I was 18 years old. I got it a couple months after I turned 18, so I was pretty eager to get it once I did turn 18, but I did wait a little bit. I got it in March of 2017 is when I got my very first credit card, and it was a pretty memorable day, to be honest. I remember driving to the bank with my mom because we weren't sure if I was gonna have to co-sign or not. She was kind of advocating that I go the co-sign route, and we sort of get a co-sign credit card so that her name is still on it and that I would be able to get approved more easily because referring back to a video that I made before about what kind of credit cards there are, it is much easier to get approved for a co-signed credit card with somebody who already has a good amount of credit than it is to get your first credit card, especially if it's not a secured credit card. Because like I talked about before, secured credit card is just a credit card that you put a deposit down with the bank so that they know that if you don't pay up, they already have the money in your account that they can just take and they'll be fine. But yeah, we were driving to the bank. It was a sunny March day and we weren't really sure if I was gonna have to co-sign or not. We get there, we sit down with the dude, and turns out I got approved for a unsecured credit card very easily. Didn't really have that much income, to be honest. I did have a part-time job at the time. I was probably making like somewhere around $15 an hour, working maybe 15 hours a week, I'd say. So not that much income coming in, but I did get approved for a pretty decent credit card. So definitely stick around to see what kind of card I got approved for. But yeah, it was a pretty easy process and it did not take too much at all. I was very pleasantly surprised that I did get approved very quickly. So that was good. So now let's talk about why. Why did I choose to get a credit card at the age of 18? Why did I think that was a necessary step in my financial goals, with my financial journey, all that good stuff? Why was that a goal for me? Well, really what it came down to, number one thing I want to do is to build credit. So I saw that from a young age, it is very, very important to get started building credit while you're young, while you don't have a bunch of big expenses looming over you, like student loans, like a mortgage, like a car payment, all this good stuff. I think it's a lot easier to get a good solid foundation before you have all these things you have to worry about paying for every single month. If you can get that solid foundation to begin with, then it'll be a lot easier to get good interest rates for all these other big purchases and get good terms, get approved, all that good stuff. It's a lot easier if you do get that solid base established when you're young, when you are just 18 years old, than if you wait until you actually need that mortgage or you need that car payment and you don't have any credit behind you. You might not get approved, and if you do get approved, you're probably gonna have some pretty unfortunate terms that go along with that loan. So I was like, all right, we're gonna get ahead of the game. We are going to get ahead for my future and get that credit card when I'm young so that I can start building credit with very low stakes and just use it every once in a while. So my real strategy with this card was just to put expenses on it that I already had the money for in my bank account. I wasn't gonna put anything on this card that I did not have the money to pay for right away. I wasn't gonna use it to buy things that I wouldn't have already bought, so I was using it to buy like gas, groceries, some food, all that good stuff, just stuff that I would have already bought. I just put it on the credit card and did it that way so that I would be building credit on these things that I was already going to buy with my debit card. I was just like, all right, well, let's put it through a credit card so that I can actually get some perks for that spending as opposed to just spending the money and not getting anything for it. So that was my main goal, is to start building credit. And another one of my big motivations behind starting to build credit at such a young age was I sort of had a couple things on the back burner at the back of my brain. I was just sort of thinking about two things. I was thinking about potentially getting invested in some real estate in the potential future, not really near future at that point, but getting invested in some real estate. I knew I would need credit for that. I knew I would need to borrow money for that. I knew I would not have the money in my bank account to go out and buy some real estate. So I was thinking, all right, better start building the credit now so that banks are going to have a good relationship with me. Banks are going to be able to trust me more in the future when I do want that loan. And I also just had entrepreneurship, starting a business going on in the back of my brain as well. So I was thinking, might need a business loan at some point. It's a good idea to just get this relationship started with my bank so that when I do actually have the need for some money, they're going to be a lot more willing to work with me because I have been building this relationship over time. Because you really got to foster any relationship, especially a relationship with your bank. It's really, really good if you foster it over time, get to know these people, because they are going to be very, very powerful when it comes to you needing some money and them having some money, and you guys really want to be able to work together and achieve both of your goals in that scenario. So that is why I decided to get my credit card. And additionally, I'll just mention here how I use the credit card. Again, like I said, I just bought things that I would already buy, but then I would go onto my phone. I had an app that was for my bank, and I would just go on and immediately pay it off. So I would immediately, the next day, I would just go on and pay off any charges that I had made the previous day in order to avoid carrying a balance, because you don't want to carry a balance on a card. That is not a way to boost your credit score. That's a way to tank your credit score. And I didn't want to be paying any interest payments on this money because, as you'll see in a little bit, the interest rate on that was just ridiculous, as it is for really any credit card. Interest rates on credit cards are crazy. Never carry a balance and do not pay credit card interest because it is ridiculous. It's such a wealth killer. So don't do that. But now we're going to get to what kind of credit card was it. So it was a US Bank Platinum Visa card. So basically what that means is it is the US Bank starter credit card that you can sort of just get right out of the gate. It's not secured, it's not co-signed, but it is really their starter card. So the main reason that I decided to go for this card in particular was it is through the same bank as my checking and savings account. So I just figured it'd be really easy to go in and pay off my credit card right away if I had it with the same bank as my checking account. Really wanted to have those two together so that I could just go on the next day and pay off my credit card bill and not have to wait till the end of the month to do so. I just wanted to get that over with right away, and I knew I'd be paying everything off right away. So that is why I decided to get those through the same bank. And yeah, so like I said, it's really the intro level card for US Bank for their Visa cards. It's really their intro level card. And the reason I say this is because, at least mine in particular, I had a $1,500 limit, which isn't too bad for a starter card. Some starter cards are as low as like $500. So having that $1,500 limit was great because it was able to let me to keep my credit utilization to a minimum, which is pretty important when it comes to building your credit. You want to keep your credit utilization down, which is just the percentage of your limit that you're using every single month. So you want to keep that under 30%. So for me, it was pretty easy to keep that under $450 a month. And I was just 18 years old, so I wasn't spending that much money, and spending less than $450 a month was not a difficult task for me by any stretch of the imagination. So I was definitely very happy for that higher limit, because if I would have had, say, a $500 limit, I would have had to keep my spending under $150 a month, which I probably did, but I would have had a higher utilization anyways. So good to have that higher limit. And then my interest rate, so my APR was 22%, which is just ridiculous. I mean, paying 22% of interest on anything is just obscene. You never want to do that. That's just going to eat into so much of your wealth. Never pay credit card interest. And I mean, the 22%, it's pretty on par with starter cards. Probably a little on the higher end. I think the average college student's interest rate on their credit card is somewhere in the 19% range. So it's a little bit on the higher end of the average, but it's still in that ballpark. It's just ridiculous though. Somewhere around 20% interest is just ridiculous. Never pay that much in interest on anything. It's never worth it. But this card, additionally, it didn't have any fees, which is another big reason I went for this card. No fees, no monthly fees, no annual fees, no minimum charges, none of that stuff. So it's really a starter card that's just for like people who aren't spending that much money, which is great because that's exactly what I was at that time. Still don't spend that much money. So great starter card. And it additionally had a promotion where for the first 12 months, it was a 0% APR. So even if I did forget to pay off my credit card, which I did not, but even if I did, I wouldn't have to pay any interest on that for the first 12 months, which is great because it's a great way to ease in to your credit card and not get tripped up early if you do forget to make a payment. So that is great. That is a great thing about the US Bank starter card, the Platinum Visa, but I think that's pretty standard with most starter credit cards. They're not going to charge you any interest for the first at least 6 months, probably 12 months. But yeah, that's pretty standard at this point. But additionally, with this card, I had no perks. So like I said, I was building credit. I was paying off my card in full the next day, but I was not getting any perks. There was no cash back, there were no miles, there were no rewards at all with this card, which is the main reason why I decided a couple months ago to sort of upgrade to a different card. And because I really wanted to get those perks, and I knew I had a high enough credit score at this point to be able to move up the credit card ladder and sort of get to the next level of a credit card. So that is what I decided to do a couple months ago, and I'll be shooting a video out in the next couple days, maybe about a week, about my new credit card, my current credit card, what it is, and that story behind that one. So this was just my starter credit card story, my very first credit card. Just want to share this story with you guys so that you guys can see what my first credit card looks like, and you can sort of compare that to any credit card that you're looking at for your potential first credit card, which I would really, really recommend you do if you are a college student, if you're a young person. If you don't have a credit card yet and you're over the age of 18, you should definitely go out and do that because it's going to help you massively in the long term. I've already seen significant benefits from having my credit card for only about a year now. So get that credit card, get your credit history started now so that you're going to have a huge credit history when the time comes for you to look at getting a potential loan for a big life purchase, for a big milestone. You're definitely going to thank yourself if you get started early. So that's about it for the video, guys. If you did enjoy this, do leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share this with a friend so that they can see what to look for in their very first credit card and what my first credit card looked like. I will see you guys tomorrow, and until next time.